I have to agree with Maciek that physics is a very broad branch of science, field of science, and I want to tell you something about is it necessary to be perfect always. I mean that Maciek was talking about the curiosity which will take you forward through your life. But what if the time you might spend for various activities is not that, you don't have so much time for various activities, and you have to manage your time, especially for learning. So how to know whether or not am I learning efficiently, or whether or not am I stepping the right way on my during my learning? Yeah. So first of all, you might think that, of course, you have two possibilities: just to take up only easy tasks and difficult ones. Let's check out these two possibilities. If you deal with only easy tasks, the tasks which are scoring nearly 100%, of course you might feel comfortable, but what else? This might trigger boring. This might trigger burnout. Do you feel that you are satisfied with getting only the highest notes in a longer distance? I believe not. This is you can't progress almost not at all doing only easy tasks. Apart from that, you might also you become oversensitive to failure, because if you score so high every time, then when you go outside the school, go to the studies and so on, and you encounter any difficulties, you might just break down, and that's not. I tell you that from my perspective as a university teacher, not school teacher. Yeah, I saw a lot of people who broke down because they were very successful at school, but then couldn't follow their dreams. Last but not least, that the easy task cannot discriminate. Think of it, if you all score, let's say, between 95 and 100% from your English exam, Matura. Yeah? So what? What does it tell us? Doesn't. Because to discriminate, we have to see the results on some spectrum. So easy tasks are not good for us. Let's check the other possibility. Only difficult tasks. So if you think that dealing with difficult tasks is good for you, of course you might feel very quickly that the impression that it's not for you, because you can't progress so much, because you might feel frustrated, you might feel anxiety, yeah. And again, the difficult tasks, when you score well below 50%, what that tells us about your capabilities, about your skills. Among the blinds, one-eyed is the king. Yeah, so that's the case. In this situation, you might ask yourself: so, if neither easy nor difficult task, so what? What's the option? The option is the so-called growth mindset. So the mind oriented towards growth. It means that your mind is a state of, let's say, flow, like, you know, like flowing water. And that's the state in which you are unconsciously doing what you are interested in, but being with a deep sense of control of what you are doing. That's the flow. How to get that state? How to get that state? Let's turn our faces again to artificial intelligence, because it's a very broad range of various techniques. The machines mimic the way the animals learn. Let's say. So, for example, I want to show you the results from one paper. This is the case of backpropagation neural network, which was designed to help the doctors to say if the patient is ill or not. So there were. Let me shortly explain how it works. In the input, you had some clinical data, like the symptom, like the age of the patient and so on, and some symptoms of the illness. And then to all this data you multiplied by some factors and then summed up. So it is like you count your average when the semester is coming. Yeah, you have a note with some weight. Yeah, and then you sum, divide by the number of your notes and so on. So this is how this algorithm works. The thing is, however, and we call this, the thing is that we can tune the factors to get the best possible results. You cannot do that with your average because the weights are constant. But in the machine learning, you can do that, and you do that. Yeah, so to tune the factors to get the best possible result, and that is what we call training. But of course, with the number of trials, when you progress with the training, of course the training error decreases, as you see in this picture with the dotted line. Yeah, with the number of trial, your network, the factors, the coefficients you tune are even better for your output, so that the output is very close to what you want. But that's only one side of the story, because in the same time, when you take data from outside of your training set and try the same, it turns out that in the beginning, of course, the so-called cross-validation error decreases as well, but only to a certain trial. Then, paradoxically, the cross-validation error starts to increase. So the situation is like that you are more fluent with your data, but you can't generalize the data outside of the set. Yeah, it resembles the situation when you learn, for example, for tests, and you think you are very good at this, but then the test comes and you got the note you were not expected. Yeah, so that's the case, because you probably were overtrained. That's the overtraining in the data. From this point of view, I might say that the slogans like "practice makes perfect" or "train hard, win easy," and so on, no pain, no gain, sounds useless. Yeah, because even if you are more fluent, even if you try many times, it doesn't guarantee that you you will profit from that in the test or with the data which is outside the training set. That's the problem. So bear in mind the number. I mean, that is the minimum cross-validation error in this case was around 20%. It depends on the work, but does not vary so much. So it is around 20%. So it means the score is 80%. The score is, in this case, 80%. There's another work, another machine learning algorithm, but used for binary classification task. Binary classification task is like, do you know Cinderella? She was picking the lentils from the ashes. Yeah, so that's the problem. You have the algorithm have to distinguish between two objects of various shapes or something like that. The problem is that the shapes are not that different like lentils and ashes, which is easy, yeah. But they have to the network have to learn some properties, but the procedure is almost the same. So we have to learn the network to distinguish between two things. And what happens? Look on the picture on the right. That's the cornerstone of my speech. For error rate around 0.16, which roughly is 1 in 6, yeah, the learning rate is the highest, even regardless it is before the training or after the training. The highest learning rate is around when the error rate is 1 in 6. So in 6 trials you might make 1 mistake, and that's perfect. That's perfect in this case. The sweet spot, the golden rule, someone labeled that phenomenon differently. This the same golden rule from the same work. They say that the flow is something in between, because, as I said, when you feel bored, it means that you struggle with easy tasks, but with high accuracy. On the other hand, when you feel anxiety, it means that you score with low accuracy, but with low learning rate. So the flow is something between, like on this yellow edge in the middle. Yeah, that's the flow. The balance between difficulty and easiness. So from that point of view, let's turn our attention to what we say in what we have written in our status. So the around 80%, between 80-85%, means that when you score at tests, at exams, between 4 and 5, or closer to 4, it's just enough in this case. Yeah, paradoxically, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to score at 6 to be optimally to be. I don't know. I don't want to say optimally taught, but your learning rate is then the optimal. 1 in 6 golden rule. Probably you spotted a lot of mistakes I made during my speech, but it doesn't matter as long as you got my message, because the message is, for efficient learning, the student should be encouraged or even forced, which is surprising, to a higher level of difficulty once a performance criterion has been achieved. If you got my message, it means that the 1 in 6 rule works. So if you feel the urge for perfection, just take deep breath and believe that 1 in 6 rule is on your side. Thank you very much.